Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to take some pretty heavy academic concepts and transform them into a really practical, ready-to-use blueprint for designing absolutely incredible language learning materials. If you've ever wanted to crack the code, the real science and art behind creating educational resources that actually work, well, you're in exactly the right place. Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to map out 5 core pillars today to really master material development. We'll start with the material mission, move into designing for engagement, explore real-world authenticity, figure out how to truly focus on the learner, and finally, wrap up with the teacher as designer. So I want you to take a second and think about the last time you handed out a worksheet, a textbook, or even sent a digital link to a student. What was their immediate reaction? Have you ever wondered why some materials just completely captivate a classroom, sparking all these lively discussions and awesome light bulb moments, while others, let's be honest, practically put students to sleep? I'll tell you a secret. The difference isn't just luck. It's totally by design. Let's establish exactly what we're talking about here. Material development is basically the whole field of designing, producing, and evaluating language teaching materials to help learners effectively acquire a language. And let's be super clear, this applies to everything. We're talking traditional printed textbooks, sure, but also interactive digital resources, audio clips, and yeah, even those customized handouts you frantically create at midnight before a big class. All right, pillar number 1, the material mission. Think about what's actually in your educator toolkit. You've got your physical anchors, right? Your printed textbooks, worksheets, and charts. But you can layer that foundation with dynamic human speech using audiovisual broadcasts, or tap into the literally boundless world of internet-enabled interactive resources. Throw in some authentic real-world texts, and finally, your very own customized teacher-created masterpieces. Textbooks are really just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Now, creating these materials isn't just pulling rabbits out of a hat. It's actually a highly dynamic 4-step cycle. First off, we conduct a needs analysis to figure out what learners actually require. Second comes design and production, where the resource is dreamed up and built. Third is evaluation and feedback, basically testing it out in the wild. And finally, adaptation and revision. The big takeaway here, this process is completely cyclical. Your materials are never truly done. They constantly evolve based on how well they actually worked. Moving right along to pillar number 2. Designing for engagement. So we have to talk about Brian Tomlinson's famous 8-point wheel of core principles for good material development. It is an absolute gold standard in the field. When we talk about engineering those student light bulb moments, this right here is the underlying architecture. Let's break down a few of the most crucial points into actionable steps, starting right at the top. Rule number 1, you've got to achieve impact. Materials absolutely must look interesting, varied, and attractive so learners actually want to engage with them in the first place. Think about it. The look and feel of a product is its unique selling point. If your worksheet looks like a dense, boring wall of text, well, you've already lost the learner before they've read a single word. But hey, engagement goes way deeper than just fun fonts and pretty colors. Synthesizing principles from experts like Howard and Major, the real goal is to get students learning by doing, while feeling entirely at ease. If you provide crystal clear instructions, you instantly remove that paralyzing anxiety of the unknown. When tasks are non-threatening, confidence naturally builds. And when confidence builds, that's when students are finally ready for the ultimate goal, genuine interactive communication. Okay, pillar number 3, real-world authenticity. Picture it, the dreaded mechanical grammar drill. You know the one. 20 totally disconnected fill-in-the-blank sentences. The cat sits on the blank. It's repetitive, it's dry, and honestly, it's completely isolated from reality. Now compare that to a dynamic, real-world task. Imagine students reading an actual news article about a local festival, discussing their own experiences with their peers, and then maybe checking a model dialogue. Which one of those actually prepares someone for the real world? No contest, right? Linguist David Noonan actually hit the nail on the head here with this powerful quote. He said, "Texts written specifically for the classroom generally distort the language in some way." Really think about that for a second. When we invent these highly unnatural, perfectly structured sentences just for the sake of teaching a grammar point, we are actually failing to prepare our students for the messy, beautiful reality of actual everyday conversations. So, how do we make it authentic? The goal isn't just to show off perfect grammar. It's about passing along real information. When we expose learners to actual restaurant menus or real news broadcasts, we force them to respond to authentic stimuli. This naturally integrates reading, listening, and speaking all at once. It allows for a genuinely communicative use of the language to achieve an actual, tangible outcome. Next up, our fourth pillar, focusing on the learner. Look, before you even think about designing a single worksheet, you really need to go through a cyclical needs analysis. You have to decide your purpose, identify who your learners actually are, choose your methods like interviews or tests, collect and analyze the data, interpret the results, and only then do you start designing your materials. And of course, you're continuously evaluating them as you go. The real magic happens when you interpret that data to find the learning gap. On one side, you have the target situation analysis, or TSA. This is what the learner will ultimately need to do out in the world, like a nurse needing to explain a medical procedure. Contrast that with the present situation analysis, or PSA, which is their current ability. Maybe they have general vocabulary, but absolutely zero medical terms. The exact gap between these two realities, that is the specific deficiency your materials must be designed to close. Closing that gap means making things deeply personal. If a student feels the content is actually relevant to their daily life and you respect their unique visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learning style, they are going to naturally self-invest. They'll actually want to think, choose, and respond. This is especially true if you offer the flexibility needed for diverse classroom environments and provide immediate feedback on how they're doing. And that brings us to our fifth and final pillar, the teacher as designer. As a teacher, you're constantly evaluating the resources you use, right? You typically do this in two main ways. Predictive evaluation happens before the course even starts. It's when you look at a textbook and try to guess, hey, will this actually work for my upcoming class? Then you have retrospective evaluation, which happens after the lesson. That's when you look back and assess, okay, did that material actually hit the course objectives? Did it engage the students like I hoped it would? But what if you're literally starting from a blank page? Well, Jolly and Bolitho offer this fantastic 5-step framework for building from the ground up. It starts by identifying the exact problem in the classroom, which then leads you to explore the specific skills required to solve it. From there, you ground those skills in a real-world context with suitable texts. Then, you develop the meaningful pedagogical activities around them. And finally, only at the very end, do you finalize the physical, attractive layout. Here's the most important thing to remember. Your job isn't just to blindly pass out prepackaged content. You are a master facilitator. This is the whole concept of material adaptation. The truly great teachers look at a resource and constantly ask themselves, how can I reduce, add, omit, modify, or supplement this to maximize its absolute value for my specific students? You get to mold the content so it fits your unique classroom context perfectly. Wow, we've covered a ton of ground today, from finding the crucial gap in a student's knowledge all the way to ensuring authentic, visually impactful learning experiences. I want to leave you with this provocative thought as you prep for your very next class. Are your teaching materials truly serving your learners, genuinely challenging them to communicate and grow, or are they just filling time? Try applying this architect's blueprint and just watch your classroom transform. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep designing those great learning experiences.